welcome to the Farmers Union Insurance Pregame Show. I'm Lauren Hill, joined by Ken Oda and Edward Nieman, and we are getting you ready for our first meeting with the Aberdeen Wings this season. So we have another home weekend here in the Mesa. This is our first time seeing Aberdeen just in general this whole season. Based on what I've heard, it's a huge rivalry. How are we feeling about this weekend, guys?
I'm pretty excited. The Bismarck rivalry is huge just because of the hour and a half down the road, but the Aberdeen rivalry is built entirely on the ice, and I'm excited to see another round of it kick off.
Yeah, Lauren, this is a first for me as well. Haven't seen this in person. I've watched the battles between these two teams for a couple of years now, but I'm excited to see it in person, and I think the fans are going to bring it tonight, so I think we're in store for a good weekend.
Yeah, so speaking about it being a two-game home series, let's take a look back at last Saturday night's game against St. Cloud in the Mesa.
Yeah, Lauren, another competitive game between the Tauros and Norsemen. Just like Friday night, Norsemen get the win 4-3 over the Tauros. Tauros did a nice job battling through some adversity, netting 3 goals on only 20 shots on net. Norsemen with 41 of their own. So kind of a back-and-forth game. Tauros is going to squeak it out at the end.
Yeah, the Norsemen did a good job of clogging up what the Tauros were trying to do, limiting shots, blocking shots. The Tauros pushed back hard, but ultimately they do fall. I thought, a good game still for Lucas Sweden. He did give up 4, but he saw 41 shots, as you saw, so the save percentage still up there. So overall, I think a good performance, just not quite where the offense needs to be yet.
Yeah, I think one positive takeaway of the weekend just in total is the first period goals getting on the board for the Tauros. You saw it on Friday and Saturday night. Tauros get a goal. I think if they can do that this weekend and hold that, it could be a difference maker against this Aberdeen team.
All right, well, now turning our attention back to tonight's game, let's look at the updated Noodles numbers brought to you by Noodles and Company of Minot. So our Minot Minotauros currently stand at 9-5-1. We are 5th in the division, as Aberdeen is 11-4-0, 3rd in the division. We have, like I mentioned, we have not met them so far this year. But last season, we had a lovely record of 8-4 against them, as they had a record of 4-8 against us. Our goals per game is literally equal. So we score literally 3.13 goals per game, as do they, in goals against. We are a little behind them with 32nd ranked in the total league, as they are number 31.
Yeah, I think right now offensive production is equal, defensive production a little bit better, giving up slightly less than they are, but I think a huge difference is strength of schedule, right?
Yes.
You look at who we've played versus who they've played. They've gotten a bunch of games against Watertown. They've also played, I think, 4 against North Iowa, where we've only played 2. We haven't seen Watertown at all. We've talked about the strength of schedule for the Tauros, taking on St. Cloud 6 times already, Bismarck twice, Austin twice. So it's been a harder schedule for the Tauros. I think that contributes to maybe the record difference a little bit as well. Tauros should be getting into the easy stretch of the schedule here. Hopefully we see them take advantage.
Yeah, and I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I think just given the numbers top to bottom from record to goals scored, goals against, all of that, I think the Tauros have done a pretty good job this season just kind of steadying the ship, getting some weekend sweeps here and there and then salvaging splits in between. So I think the Tauros definitely have started the off strong, and I think if they can perform strong in front of a home crowd before going back on the road, Tauros will be looking good as they move towards, I guess, the latter part of this schedule at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, also you look at those special teams numbers. Power play, huge difference. Penalty kills about even, but the Tauros power play is significantly better than Aberdeen's, at least so far. You don't expect to see that from Aberdeen. Usually Scott Langer coach teams are more lethal on the man advantage. Don't want to give them a lot of chances this weekend to try and get right.
Well, that'll bring us to our Minotauros Booster Club players to watch. Throw it to Ken for his choice of Jack O'Hannison.
Yeah, I'm going with O'Hanny. He had 6 goals, 4 assists in 12 games against Aberdeen last season. He's got 1 goal and 4 assists in the last 4 games, so he's heating up a little bit. Had that huge game winner on Friday night against St. Cloud. So looking for O'Hanny to maybe, in the rivalry game, pick it up a little bit and get going on a hot streak. It's funny to talk about him not being on a hot streak. I think there's only 3 games this year he doesn't have a point on. It's just mostly been assists, and from a guy who had 29 goals last year, it feels like he's maybe not producing as much as he did last season, but he's still distributing well and playing good offense.
Yeah, I'm going to take Landon Fleming, a guy who returns to the Central Division after playing down in Oklahoma. former Bismarck Bobcat, so he knows this Aberdeen team well. Also, Landon Fleming netted his first Toro goal last week in a feed, actually, from Jack O'Hannison. It was a really beautiful goal for his third of the year. So I think that's important just in terms of him getting his feet under him as a Toro and getting comfortable in these lines and in this system, but also just the importance of defense against an Aberdeen team that generally likes to work that puck deep into the zone. Defensemen are very important, especially when the game starts to pick up and becomes more physical.
All right, and I'm going with Jesse Uhala. He is the leader for goals on our team, as well as a co-leader for total points so far this season. And a lovely tidbit is that his dad is here for just this weekend as well as he was here last weekend, and he was able to score last weekend. So I think that momentum and just the good luck of having his family in the barn is that's going to be a kicker. So yeah. And that will bring us to our home key group keys to the game. Ken, what are your keys to tonight's game?
Yeah, I think the first one, early bird gets the worm, right? Should be a good crowd. Should be a big emotional boost playing a rivalry game. Get off to a good start. Get the first goal. Get it in the first, 5 to 10 minutes of the game. Really get the crowd into it. Make this place hard to play in. Second one, no bird brains. The Wings power play has struggled this year. We talked about it during the Noodles numbers. It's ranked 7th in the division, but as I said before, you don't want to give them chances to get right. Aberdeen usually has a pretty strong power play. Leo Bulgakov for them, a very good offensive player. I think you don't want to give him a ton of chances with the extra man. It's only a matter of time before their power play bounces back, and you don't want to be the team that they do it against. And then the last thing, birds of a feather, right? Flock together. So this group, I think a huge part of the Tauros' success this weekend will be playing as a team. I thought they got a little maybe one-on-one last weekend, especially late against St. Cloud. Play as a team, move the puck well, get the crowd into it, and also keep that defensive zone structure. You gave up 41 shots to St. Cloud. So we know Aberdeen from the past, they like to do a lot of cross-zone passes. They like to work east-west. Keep your defensive structure, take away those passing lanes, and you should have some success against Aberdeen.
Yeah, and like I said, the Tauros did a nice job getting first period goals last weekend. If they can do that and then keep that lead, I think momentum-wise, that'll really bode well for them. Also, you talk about a rivalry weekend. It's your last weekend here at the Mesa before hitting back on the road. As Ken mentioned before, we're going to face some of the expansion teams in the next couple of weeks. So if the Tauros, can get some momentum and start to, get into that zone, I feel like the Tauros will be in a good spot. Taking on an Aberdeen team that has momentum themselves. 11 wins already on the year.
All right, Minnow Tauros fans, it's time to take out your phones and pull up the Tauros mobile app for your chance to win prizes throughout tonight's game. Starting with our Four Bears Sportsbook over-unders, we have the first one, total Tauros first period goals over-under 0.5.
I'm going to go over here. I said it before. I think that's a huge part to this weekend is getting on the board first, getting the crowd going. So I'm going to say the Tauros follow through. They've had some success in first periods lately, so I'm going to take the over.
I'm going to take the over as well. Everything that Ken just mentioned, I think an early goal is definitely pivotal in a rivalry matchup, especially in front of a home crowd. So I think if the Tauros can do that, we're going to see an over on that.
I'm going over as well. I think it's been proven that we tend to score early when we're here home in the Mesa. So yeah, I'm going over. Our second one is total Wings second period penalties over under 2.5. I'm going to go with over. Why not? I'm going to go with over. Again, we haven't seen this team yet so far, just in general, let alone in the Mesa Arena. I think because of where we stand in just division rankings and standings, I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I have not seen this Aberdeen team like you, Lauren, yet in person. 262 penalty minutes on the year so far. I'm going to take the over. A little bit of a shot in the dark, but yeah.
Yeah, that was the same number I was going to pull from, Edward. 262 penalty minutes on the year for Aberdeen, compared to 100 and something for the Tauros, 112. So more than double the Tauros penalty minutes. To do that in just 15 games means you're committing a lot of penalties. So I'm going to take the over.
And our last one is total attendance for tonight's game over under 2,000.
I have to take the over. I mean, the Toro fans have not led me to believe anything else. Rivalry matchup, everything that we've talked about. It's going to be a good crowd and a good environment as well. Not just numbers. I think there are going to be, strength in numbers as far as this building being loud and being a home ice advantage.
I'm going to go over just because I want it to be over. And if we don't hit that, then I'm disappointed. But I'm going over because I believe, honestly, we will go over that. I think we're going to hit around just like a full house. So.
And we're going to go chalk again. I'm going over as well. I think, we've had good crowds already this year, but we've had to compete against other events like the rodeo or unfortunately high school football is over after the semifinal games last weekend. So, no high school football, no other events in town. This is really our first weekend where we're it. So I'm hoping we see that result in big crowds and a good home ice advantage. But that'll bring us to our McDonald's Tauros trivia question. Former wing Sean Kennedy set the record for penalty minutes in a game against the Minotauros. How many penalty minutes did he have? 30, 35, 42, or 57? Again, this is one player's penalty minutes in one game, the most by an opponent ever in a Toro game. Any guesses?
I'm going 42. It's way too specific for it to not be 42 or 57. I also think that's a crazy number. Any of them are crazy numbers. But I'm going to go 42.
I'm going to take 57. A lot of penalty minutes already through this year. It kind of has been, I guess on brand, you could say, just for the Wings teams and also it being a rivalry matchup. I think 57 minutes, I don't know. I think that's doable in this matchup.
All right. Well, y'all, do you have anything final thoughts to say about the game tonight against Aberdeen?
Yeah, like we said at the top, I'm excited to get the Aberdeen Wings in the building. The rivalry, it's either them or Bismarck. You can go back and forth as far as who's the biggest rival, but this rivalry is not built up because of distance. It's not built up because of fan travel. It is just two teams on the ice who hate each other. It's always fun, and I'm looking forward to getting it going here once again.
Yeah, I think, two teams that probably represent that Central Division brand of hockey the best. Physical, good hockey, always tends to be good games. So I'm ready for tonight, yeah.
All right, well, that'll do it for the Farmers Union Insurance pregame show. Now we'll turn it over to Josh Carlock for tonight's starting lineups.